Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us over here. A few of our friends came and hosting us. Ran, Kiki, thank you so much. And few of us that coming together from different places, and other will listen later on. Welcome. Um, we are a week or so before, a couple of weeks, less than a couple of weeks before Passover. We're going to speak about it more next week, but it's important to connect to what's available for us in this week. And we know leading up from Purim to Passover, it's a build-up of energy, it's a build-up of connection. And the connection that we want to make is what we call total freedom from bondage, from limitation, from issues that we carrying from lifetimes, from negativity that we always fall into. Many things that that each one of us can say, you know what, I need freedom from that aspect of my life, or any addiction, or any sort of smallness that we get stuck, or any loop that you find that this the last couple of weeks you can free yourself from that. Now, knowing that that is the opportunity which makes the connection. People can go to Passover, do Passover, eating matzah, that cracker all day long. But if they don't have the consciousness, if they don't know what they're connecting to, it's as if they didn't do the connection. And therefore, many people throughout the years, they stop doing it because what do I get out of it? Just it doesn't make any sense. A lot of people dropped it very fast. And the idea that we want to awaken here is the strength and the gift that we receive by this cosmic opportunity. Another thing is available for us tonight is what we call the new moon. The new moon for the month of Aries starting tonight. And we know the first 12 days of the month of Aries are correspond to all the months of the year. So, which means we can correct, or what I mean correct, adapt ourselves already in the seed level for the entire year. So if we have now, today is the new moon of Aries, tomorrow it will be Taurus, and controlling the energy of Taurus. And again, if you follow it, and going to continue throughout these 12 days. What do I need to do? What do I need to know? First of all, to know about it, okay? And to know what is the significance of the days. It's a different class for now, but if you want, you can ask or find out more information how to connect to the first 12 days of Aries. But now we are in the first day. And we know that the first day of Aries is the first day of almost the year, because it's the month that is the first month of the year. And we know Rosh Chodesh is what we call new moon, is the energy of newness, right? Chodesh is a month, but it's also the word for Chadash, Itchadshut, renewal, restoration, beginning. That is the same word, not the Kabbalists never gave a name for something because of someone says so. No, there's consciousness behind every name. Therefore, we are in the seed level of the month. We should know that consciousness that I'm awakened today and tomorrow and the next day is never the same, because no day is similar to the other. Like if you look at the moon, or you look at the cycle of the moon, right? Every day the moon is different, right? If you go outside, you're going to look at the moon is maybe just a sliver, or maybe you don't see it at all. Tomorrow a little bit more, and the next day a little bit more, and if you're traveling, you see the moon completely different. We also know that, just to address the fact that everybody spoke about the idea of the eclipse that's happening not as often, we know what it means for spiritual people, for people who are connected. It's great for them, For people who are not, it's not so great for them. Why? Very simple. The sun represents the light of the Creator, represent what we call the channel of the light, and the moon represents this world, we call it Malchut, and Zeir and Pin, which is the channel to bring the light to this world. So all of a sudden, we know that the spiritual people, they looking for something where darkness is to turn on the light. Non spiritual people, don't know that the opportunity is when it's dark, not when it's light. It's like when we give the example, taking a candle to the beach, right, in a sunny day and like make it romantic. It's not romantic because you don't see the light, right? So there is no reason to turn on the light within the light. It's already lit. When do we turn on the light? When it's dark. So again, every time we experience that darkness in the middle of the day, for us is the greatest time to reveal light, because this is what we call in Kabbalah proactive behavior. Okay, so this is the whole system that we're talking about here. It's important to mention that when you're speaking about spiritual concept, a lot of people kind of are thinking, it's not so much related to my life because I'm busy with business, I'm busy with children, I'm busy with this, I'm busy with meetings. It's not that spiritual. No. The reason we study today, the reason we study every day, is because the Kabbalists explain, you want to bring it into every blechol asakav, in everything you're dealing with, you have to deal from a spiritual perspective. So now let's understand another layer of consciousness that one should have. We're looking at now, the month of Nisan, the month of Aries, is the planet Mars, right? And planet Mars, it seems like very far. We're talking about traveling to Mars, building whatever spaceship to get us there. One of the things that most of us don't know, but when you study Kabbalah, you want to awaken that understanding, is that Mars, Pluto, Jupiter, all of those planets, Sun, the Moon, is all internal structure of human being. It's nothing to do with the external. The external is part of the illusionary of time, space, and motion. If I'm thinking, I need to travel all the way to Mars to control that month or to control that planet, what do you mean controlling? To control, meaning the land? No, the energy force. And therefore, if I think it's far away, I can never gain control. So the first important understanding as we're getting into the new moon and 12 days of Aries, which is every day related to a planet that is inserted in each and every individual. If you understand that the next 12 days is nothing to do with an external planet, but an internal structure of how we all work. You have the 12 days, 12 signs of the zodiac. You have the 12 tribes we're talking about, that we are, all of us, our channel of the 12 tribes. And we have the 12 months. But all of it represent limitation. 12 represent limitation. So 12 months of the year is a completion. But human being, and we know completely in truth that the Kabbalists explain, we meant to be above the sign of the zodiac. We human beings don't need to be under the bondage of the sign of the zodiac. Oh, you are Taurus, you're going to be this way. Oh, you're an Aries, you fiery, you are this, you that. That is what the world is talking about. Kabbalistically, we have to look at that as our opportunity to transform and to go above the limitation. This is what the beginning and then the next 12 days Search, look. If you want, ask us in the chat. We can send you information about it. So, because these months, the eclipse, you have the 12 days, and you have Passover in a couple of weeks. We and each one of us want to find out, how can I break free? Sometimes we're dealing with situation over and over, but it's nothing personal. It's just something that you can allow to release energy to the world. Sometimes when it seems like there's a personal vendetta on us, on each one of us, on our business, on a deal that you're working on, there's a personal agenda of the other person. Yes, you have to be in two places: the collective, the general speaking, but privately. So your quote unquote difficulty, it's not your difficulty, it's the world difficulty. Yes, the entire world seems like don't care about your problem. But when you overcome that problem, that issue, that limitation, you release for the world, for the collective, generally speaking, collective, beklalut, you release way more information to the world, way more secret to the world, way more ease to the world to overcome its barrier. So we need to know we are not just little people working on something or on change or overcoming something. It's important to understand that, I don't know, listen, I don't plan where, what, how I'm going to speak. I don't plan where I'm going to be. I don't know why I need to be in this place for the sake, who knows about maybe the neighborhood needs a light to be revealed. I don't know. Who knows what that light, or who needs to listen to this? But when we're thinking like, oh, who is there? What is there? How much? Where? You miss the point, my dear. We, each one of us, go whatever you go through, whether it's good or not so good. It's in two levels. One, the private, the individual transformation, overcoming my limitation. And two is in the collective, in the big picture, your change influencing to the greater light that need in this world. Specifically this week, it's called portion Tazria. Tazria. And it speaks about when a woman gets pregnant, right? So I want to remind you, maybe I'm going to share with you what he says in the beginning, and then I'm going to share with you why it's important information for the rest of our life. So literally the Torah is talking about when a woman conceived a child first, when she conceived first, it will be a baby boy. And when a man conceived first, it will be a baby girl. Right? Now, a lot of people are, thinking, oh, why didn't you tell me? I know how to bring boys and girls. Why if you would tell me this, right? No, it doesn't work like that. Even though it can, but the consciousness is completely different. Let me explain to you. Each one of us have what we call two awakening, two level of awakening. One is from the female aspect of us, and one is from the male part of us. Every individual is consisted from female and male. That is the beginning understanding of all spiritual people. Now we know that if a person understands that he or she is just an energy source, they need to know what is more dominant and what they need to activate now and what they need to support more within them. Sometimes, a lot of us, for example, growing up, need to give, need to serve. We've been trained to give and serve, right? And to help and always being helpful, right? It's almost like automatic. And if you take the that person to the world, you will say this person will be taken advantage by others because he's going to help everybody and nobody, right? A person like that can be taken advantage. A person like that in his life need to learn how to receive and be okay with that. How to, accept from others and be okay with that. The other way around. If a person is only me, take, a person need to understand, wait a second, where is your influence? How can you help others? This is a different approach. These type of behaviors or thinking, it's represent the two type of awakening that exists within our vessel, the male and the female. Let's understand a little bit more. When when a person have an awakening, but the awakening start from him, which means let's take a scenario. Let's take a scenario. A thought come to you. You know what? It's not a thought that was promoted or were encouraged by other people, but you sit around or in a meditation or you read something or something came to you and it's like, wow, a thought of change. You know what? Enough the way you are, less changes. Or I'm done with this, I want to change something, right? When a person has something like that, you have to jump on that, grab it with two hands, and do immediate action that related to what he's heard or a thought that came to him as for change or transformation. You have to jump on thoughts like that. A lot of us think, oh, yeah, it's a very interesting thoughts, and then we move on. Oh yeah, wow, I thought about it, but maybe I'll do it in the spring. Oh, maybe I'll do it in the summer, when I have less time, I'm going to work on myself. I'm going to go to that retreat. When you go there, when it's going to happen, nothing going to happen. Because if you're not jumping on that, that's what we call awakening from above. They send you a thought above. Now, again, what do you mean? It's just a thought. So it means that a thought like that needs to wake you up. A lot of us don't take it this way, and we stay the same. So therefore, if you're not awakening from below, from within you, when you hear a thought like that, you tell the universe, now I don't want to listen to any of that. I'm only going to choose the tough reality, the tough love, right? Now, when the tough love, you call it tough love, but when it comes, it doesn't feel so much love. It feels judgment. Immediately, immediately, a person changes. When do we really change? When awakening from above comes to wake us up. How? It comes in form of fear or form of like something like a danger or a life-threatening situation. Then immediately the person, okay. If a person afraid about for his money, for his business, for his children, for his wife or partner, he will do whatever. Or if it comes down to that, I'll change. I'm not gonna say. But a thought come to them to change, to be more of service for others, to be more spiritual, to be more connected. Yeah, I'll do it later. Why? Again, there's no conspiracy around you. There's no God or some universe who wants to defeat you. Definitely not. It's a system. When you're choosing a direction of not listening to the awakening that comes to you, as a thought, as form of like as a favor to tell you something, or even in a good conversation, something come up and you taking it like lightly, let me think about it. Every time somebody says, let me think about it, I know that's the extent of how much they're going to think about it. To the when they finish the sentence, let me think about it. That's it. That's when they end thinking about it. If you want to check it out. So again, this week we have an opportunity to wake ourselves up. before Passover start, we want, and again, I don't want to say have to or force, but we want to grab on any awakening we can. Do not wait until it comes knock on your door. It's just going to make you change. It's going to make you change. You will change, but you will change because you're afraid from the pain and from the risk of losing everything. That is when you're going to change. But the problem is, it doesn't stay, because change that was promoted from fear or worries about my money, it doesn't stay. It's not real until you wake up yourself. So the bottom line is, yes, you can wait until it's painful, or you can change and free yourself from your ego, free yourself from the attachments, free yourself from what people think about you, free yourself from how it look like, free yourself from the worries of the future. What happening in this week? What are they speaking about? Speaking about that when a person is in a negative place, it speaks that back then a person got leprosy. Leprosy. Tzarat. Tzarat is leprosy. So this week and next week we're going to speak about that idea or the concept of that skin disease called leprosy. Because leprosy, what does leprosy represent? Is skin disease. Something that appear on the external part of the skin. It's not internal, right? Maybe another layer internally on the skin, but it's almost like just a surface external disease or a plague. We know that in the desert, known to be, when somebody, let's say in the evening, had a dinner with his wife or his children, and disrespect them, right? Or had a business deal with somebody, and then they were like a little bit deceiving them in the deal. They come the next day, a leprosy grows on their skin. If a leprosy grows on someone's skin, the person need to go into what we call quarantine, like 7 days to outside of everybody else. And they're going to go to the high priest, and the high priest will make them, some work, what they need to work on, and then they can go back to be with everybody. Let's understand the logic here. Because if you think about it, it's a bad thing. If somebody have a leprosy, right? Everybody says, "Oh, what did you do last night?" Or what? It's appear right away. Person disconnected, right away leprosy. Now people can take it like, "Oh, this is bad." Who would like to live like that, right? We know that before we're talking about in the creation of the world, there were two realities that before the world as we know it. One reality was the reality of judgment. If somebody will steal, his hand got chopped. If somebody, didn't go to pray this morning, his leg will be chopped. If he think negative, boom, his whatever, his mouth gets judgment right away, cause and effect. Now we know that that reality will take away the free will of anyone, right? So what do? That's the next reality we're talking about, the reality that now we have mercy. Person have the opportunity to change until the effect come into place where the person is. So therefore, today, if somebody think negative, or if somebody, let's say for example, we know specifically, next week I'm going to speak about it, it's mostly and more important is the evil tongue. When someone speak bad, imagine back then it was if you spoke bad, leprosy appeared right away. So you will say this is very bad, right? But no, we look at that as a positive thing, because if leprosy, imagine you're doing something wrong and nobody tells you. and you do it wrong and wrong, and then all of a sudden somebody come and the universe smack you big time. So what if I didn't know, right? So today we don't know, but back then, every time you were disconnected, it will shown on you. Therefore, as soon as it's shown, oh, what did I do yesterday? Let me correct it. Let me go 7 days working on that. Why? Of course, why it says 7 days? Because we learned there is the seven sphirot, the seven layers that related to our world, and each one of us, when there is a disconnect, you gotta need to work. What it says, "V'sgiro shevat yamim," in 7 days, it put the person in quarantine. What is the idea? The idea is that although 7-11, we spoke about him in many different classes. I need to work on being more merciful. Chesed or gvura, I need to awaken more desire, and many, many different layers within the individual to work so he can reveal what is the disconnect. We know when a person is not awakened himself, when he hear a thought, when he can bring himself to the reality of tsarat. Tsarat is leprosy, but the word tsarat, if you flip the letter a little bit, you get the word tsa'ar. Tsa'ar, which is sorrow, pain, and suffering. A lot of suffering in person's life when they not doing the work of awakening within them. And remember, every time of the year you need to do that, that's great. But when it's related to cosmic opening, your work can get magnified. Your work can get amplified by the universal thinking that is open. So this is the first, second, third level of understanding we want to connect over here in this week. Next, a couple more ideas that's important. They call the tsarat, the leprosy, nega tsarat, which means nega is the word touch, right? But it's also the word play, right? Which is spread, right? Tsarat, the leprosy was spread right away if the person did not quarantine, right? I'm sure all of us have this quarantine experience, right, in the last couple of years. The same idea spiritually. First is, if you ask yourself why you're not attracting people that are right people in your life, right deals in your life, right soulmate, you're not attracting that to your life, or you're not attracting the right information in the right moment, it's because for some reason you are in quarantine. Now you don't know that. You don't know because you think that I went to work and everything, but no major things happen. I'm not able to attract something to my life. It's because you are under quarantine until you're gonna correct something. It's no point to join you someone new or a bigger client or a bigger vessel. Why? Because you're gonna contain them. You're gonna contaminate them with your leprosy. Now, leprosy is negativity that stays and being spread. That's what it means. So, for example, let's say somebody in your life have an addiction. The entire family is suffering from the addiction, not just the person. No, his family, his children, his continuation. That's just an addiction that's lasting more than a day. I'm not talking about one situation happened that, affecting you and your family. I'm talking about something that was a continuous way. For example, you say an addiction or money problem, right? Somebody have a constant money issue, right? Everybody suffer because every month they calling everybody, hey, daddy, mommy, sister, dad, can you help? Can you help? Eventually, it's almost like prison. The person put you in prison that now you need to work and find a way to help them all day long. You feel like a nanny instead of like a friend or a brother. That is leprosy. because it's spread, not just the person goes, it's spread. So it is important to remember these ideas, because what is what are we getting this week is complete removal of this type of negativity, right? So last thing that I would like to share, which is important, connected to what we call the nega, the the spread of the leprosy, which is not just the spread of the leprosy, but the idea of the plague that is creating. Nega, nega, disease, or what we call plague, starts from everything that I'm looking for is to gain pleasure, which is the word oneg. Oneg. Oneg is pleasure. Nega is disease or plague. Think about it. Very simple. I give this example all the time. We spoke about when somebody got a mosquito bite. Is it pleasure to scratch? When the itch, when somebody have an itch, right, or on a mosquito, right? It's such a pleasure to scratch it. Yeah, for the moment, for the second, for the minute. But if you're going to continue doing it, eventually it become bloody and too red and lasting way too long than what it should. So we know not everything that is pleasure in your life, even if it's just a moment of pleasure, well, just enjoy it a little bit, have fun a little bit. The problem is we having fun a little bit all day long. A little bit fun here, a little bit fun there. Enjoy, enjoy, enjoy. Take pleasure, pleasure, pleasure. Eventually, it becomes something that we cannot live our life without it. We identify our life like that. So when any time is we asking ourselves, where did this difficulty come from? Is from all the pleasures that we're trying to get for ourselves. Because think about it. We think, maybe we just eat something for the pleasure, right? Or I give the example, when if you like sometimes, when somebody is like, or even somebody get tickled, right? Some of us are very ticklish, for example. So you see somebody is very ticklish, when you tickle them, right? The entire body shut down. But you tickle them a little bit, one spot on the body, the entire body shut down, right? But one place, and remember, when you take little pleasure for this or little pleasure for that, doesn't matter. You took over the entire body. So again, you can't separate, oh, just my hand getting pleasure. No, the entire body is focusing on that, which is, again, it's a disconnect eventually. Again, I'm not saying not to enjoy life. But when all my life is just about oneg, taking pleasure all day long for me, right? Eventually it become a disease, become a spread. It become what we call nega tzarat, which is what we experiencing today. So again, before Passover, really do some house searching, right? What do you looking for? What, where you get your pleasure from? What is the satisfaction that you're looking for? And the answer should be, eventually, is only through my spiritual development I gain so much pleasure. Only by I'm getting, even doing those classes and invite a person or host another person, take pleasure in stuff like that. When you bring people closer to the light, when you help an individual for real, not about your ego, but really see transformation, that's take pleasure. The physical pleasure, if I think the highlight of my day is the physical pleasure, eventually it will turn into something that you cannot enjoy anymore and cannot enjoy. Take people who enjoy only enjoying food. Eventually, they developing with only the pleasure with food, right? Eventually, they develop diabetes. They develop Crohn disease. They all kind of things that they cannot eat anymore. That's what's happening because if that's the only way you take pleasure, let me shut down the pipe. Let me now. How are you gonna get pleasure, right? Oh, they're gonna find another addiction. Remember, the universe will never let you just take pleasure. That pleasure will turn into a prison for you. So eventually you cannot receive anymore from that. So let's do it this year in the month of Aries, the next 12 days, as we're approaching Passover. We're going to speak more about it next week. It's nothing to do with being in Egypt or all of that. It's our own freedom that I want to be free in the spiritual world. I want to receive pleasure from the spiritual awakening. I want to receive more pleasure by bringing many more people for real closer to light. I don't care the amount, trust me. I care about the quality. That, we can have 500 people watching, but only one do the work. It was worth it. Because it's important not to focus on like, a lot and tons of money and tons of people. This is not the goal. The goal is to understand. Again, there's, for example, how many people you need to assemble, 1,000 pieces a puzzle, right? One person. But of course, if you have a good people around you, 1,000 pieces will end up in few hours as opposed to for you, if you do it by yourself, maybe it will last a day. So remember, yes, the job can be done by one person. Never meant to be by one person because it's going to prolong the work. We want to shortening the chaos in the world, shortening the arms and leg of terror that is being spread in the world in many different ways. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing to do with what you see right now in Israel or in Ukraine. These are all like systems that how the universe spreading the change that needs to happen. They are just channeled to awaken us. And once each one of us doing the work, and as a collective, we gathering ourselves to really receive fulfillment or to awaken pleasure in the world, the spiritual pleasure that exists here. There's no need for terror. There's no need for negativity and wars and people dying right and left. So this is this month. This is this Passover that we want each one of us. There is an added value to each one of us who is doing some work on themselves, some work, some awakening, some change with themselves. There's so many more, but the important part is not to just enjoy, take pleasure. A lot of us taking a lot of pleasure by speaking bad about others. We'll speak a little bit more next week about it. But you see people enjoying speaking bad about others or gossiping, right? So much energy in it, right? Or bragging about what you've done and how great what you did. There's a lot of energy there. You take pleasure in it. But remember, do it in the right with the right people, maybe with your teacher, or maybe something that is concealed. It's not about going out there and spreading that. So hopefully we'll see a lot of people grabbing the awakening, the thought, and go with it and complete transforming before Passover, because then it's very hard to change, right? So we have another couple of weeks. Please take the opportunity and grab the thought of an awakening for yourself. Thank you so much for joining us.